Today's project is this HP laptop, model 15BS627TX, and we're going to look at it cleaning or replacing the fan in this unit. So first thing you need to do obviously is shut the computer down, obviously unplug your mains power supply, and then next thing will be to remove the battery, if it will let me. That's it. So take that off. So I've got no power on the unit at all. Now it looks to have a few different screws here, two under the battery compartment. There's one under each of these rubber feet. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 in the cabinet there as well. So we'll try taking all those out, and hopefully that'll be enough to loosen this case up. So that's 2. It's number 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we should have another 4 here, and fingers crossed. So should give us 10 screws, I think. 5 and 5, yep, 10 screws. Let's see if anything comes apart here. This one's also got a broken button on it, which is another thing I'll look at trying to put back in. Yeah, we seem to be unclipping something here. So I'm just lifting on the edge of the keyboard here. And there seems to be some clips there, it feels like it's coming apart. Just put my thumbnail down the edge. Yeah, that's got it by the look of it, nearly. And one down there, and I might just flip this back upside down. No, that's it, starting to go. Yeah, there we go. So that's the bottom of the case off. And here's our fan here. And yeah, that's, oh yeah, that looks like it's screwed in by the screws on the case. Or is it? Let's see, that's, maybe not. Oh, that just sits there, okay. By the look of it. Oh yeah, we've got a screw here on the fan. Yeah, not sure if it's meant to have a screw on that side, but it doesn't have one. I think it just sits on the little post there. Oh yeah, and we can see there's a bit of dust in the end of it there, which is pretty common for lumps of dust getting in, building up on the edges. So this has just got a little plug here, which should just, if I carefully pull that, yeah, it just comes out. So there's our fan. Possibly a part number or something on there. Date code. So yeah, we've got some sort of this is basically a bit of a heatsink fin here, which goes back to, I guess, our processor and something else under here, maybe a video chip or something. So I'll just find my little paintbrush, which of course has disappeared under some junk like usual, so I'll just give that a quick dust off there. Maybe just blow through those fins, and in case there's any lumps of fluff in there, give this fan a good clean. Now any bit of dust actually brushing against these will tend to make quite a bit of noise. Sound a lot worse than you would expect just for a little bit of dust, but yeah, it can make quite a racket. And it's possible some dust could build up, or hairs or anything down in behind the fan there, so you need to really check that out. Probably blow in one side and out the other and try and dislodge anything that's in there, but this sounds quiet, at least when I spin it by hand, to get this metal plate off, looks like you have to cut the little plastic bits off and then you'd have to melt them back on again. So it's probably better not to pull that apart if you can help it. But I'll just give that a blow and basically make the fan spin. Yes, the bearing does sound a little bit noisy in it. Yeah, not too bad, maybe just a little bit of a clicking noise there. Yeah, I think that bearing might be a bit noisy by the sound of that. It doesn't take much with this plastic to make quite a bit of racket out of these fans. And there's a bit of play in it as well, so that's probably not a good sign. Yeah, it's quite loose, so we may have to get a new fan for this one, but I thought I'd have a look at it anyway. But it's a pretty easy job to get it apart and do that. With a new fan, you just have to basically chuck this other one away and put it in its place, so just a matter of plugging that back into that little plug there. Looks like the red and yellow on the left side there, and a couple of black wires on the right side. And yeah, then just a matter of fitting it back in here. So it sits on a little mounting post there, and our screw hole here. Find our screw, and just a matter of screwing that back in. And a matter of reassembling everything. Or we can have a quick look and just maybe give it a quick dust anywhere that looks like it's dusty. Got our RAM chip, an extra RAM slot there. So it's got some sort of little backup battery there, little lithium one. And there's our hard drive. I think that's just our keyboard there, isn't it? And yeah, not a lot else in it, just the motherboard, probably our little Wi-Fi unit. And yeah, not much else to it. I might have a look at this button here too, which is broken from pressing too hard trying to get Windows 10 to actually do something. I'll say we take these screws out here on this little circuit board. There's two of them. Yes, and then we can raise our little circuit board up here. It's getting a bit of dust on it. So that's just our two buttons for our touchpad. I think if we lift that little black bit up, yeah, we should be able to unplug that. And lift this other black bit, we can unplug that, so we can remove that board altogether. So here's one of the button that's still in there. Now this other button piece is broken off, so it's the bottom of it. And I actually did try and repair this once before with a bit of wire, and it broke again. So I wouldn't mind just putting it in place to make it at least look the part. So this little face bit goes in there, and then it's going to be a matter of getting the soldering iron going and just melting these two pieces together. You could glue them if you wanted to as well, probably be stronger. And then we'll just try and melt a bit of thin tin copper wire in there just to hold it back in the computer as a sort of hinge, but it probably won't work very well. It would have a tendency to stick down, but at least there won't be a hole in the computer. So I'll just get the soldering iron, hopefully it's warmed up a bit. It's just a matter of melting these little pins back together. Not the best thing to do to your soldering iron tip, so we'll have to give this a good clean afterwards. Get some fresh solder and stuff on there and give it a good wipe on the sponge as well. Remove any remains of plastic. Yeah, so those two bits are back together again, it seems. Probably could go a little bit tighter than it is. And we'll just put it back in the hole. Oops, there goes the old hinge I repaired. And that's just broken off on the little plastic hinge there. So I'll just melt that temporarily to join the two together. That's the old one I fixed, which is broken off again in a different spot. So I'll just try and melt those two bits together. Yeah, it's broken off on the end of the original wire I put on there, so that should have been a bit longer. And then we can just use a bit of tin copper wire. This has got insulation on it because it's old telephone cable. But get rid of that plastic insulation off it. Just a matter of melting it in to the hinge part. Careful not to melt right through or anything, like that. Just about went through. We'll melt that into the case. You just need to stick it in enough that it isn't likely to pop back out of the plastic again. Got a little bit of metal there, chuck that away. And same on this other one. And got some annoying foil in the way there. Just remove that for now. And just, yeah, melt into the where the old hinge was on the case. And just into the actual hinge itself. So it's still got a little bit of flex there. Some may work as a button, but it won't be real good most likely. Put our foil back, some sort of shielding or something, and get our little circuit board here, and put our connectors back in place. That one in there, that little hinge goes down, poke it in, and oops, we didn't quite get that in deep enough. They can be fiddly little things. Yeah, because this other one's pushing on it as well, so preventing me get the other one in. It should just slide in quite nicely, but it's been a little difficult. They're definitely getting too small for human hands, these things. It does not want to go in for some reason. That's it. Got to often push on that little blue tab just to get it in that little bit further. I don't know if it matters if these are actually open or not when you reinsert them. Probably doesn't matter that much, but yeah, if you just push it on that blue plastic and then shut it, shut the little black plastic bit, and then it's a matter of working out, does this sit on top of the board or under the board? I'm not actually sure, because I've got a bit of circuit board sticking out here, a bit of the motherboard. I think this sits on top of it. Doesn't look right though. It must go underneath. Ah, what happened there? Something in the way. Some sort of plastic bit here. Oh yeah, we go under that little plastic clip. Under the motherboard, that's got it. And then put our screws back in. That's got that back in, and then yeah, simply a matter of putting the bottom back on the way we took it off. It should clip in a bit. If we sit it on there roughly, oops, and we've got a rubber foot here. Yeah, just push that back part on, clip it along the back, and then open the computer up, and just clip all around the edge back in. So corner, yeah, it's all pressed back in, I think. The buttons are working again. I don't know how long that'll last, but I'm using an external mouse now, so it doesn't matter too much. I'll put these 10 screws back in the case, starting with the rubber feet, I guess, and working out from there. Four of them back, Put that rubber foot back on. And there's 2 in the battery compartment. Just make sure these feel like they're going tight, but don't, if anything's pushing back on them, don't screw them up fully in case something isn't clipped in or a wire's caught or something. So those 2, then we've got another 4 or so in the bottom here by the look of it. Actually, I'll put one in, so that's 2, 3, and 1 at the front, 4, and I must have 1 under that rubber foot. That's a bit diagonal, that one. And yeah, that one. So that's all those back. There's a bit of dust on this battery, so we'll wipe that off. Shove the battery back in and lock it. And we'll fire the computer up. Yep, fan's still noisy, so definitely going to have to get a new fan for this one. Yeah, just as noisy as ever. Shut up. Yeah, the bearings are well and truly shot in that one. Yeah, it's not even that old a computer, so that's what you get, I guess.